Okay, this is doodle notes on the Pythagorean theorem. And the Pythagorean theorem, I've got to flip this over, is for finding the length of the missing side in a right triangle. Okay, so what we're going to learn is how to find the length that's missing. The Pythagoras was a Greek philosopher. We're going to keep it simple. Okay, and then I want to go over here, label the legs. The legs are these. They're right between the right angle, if that helps you. And this is the hypotenuse. Okay, so those are the three things. Now, the theorem only works on right angles, which is you can see with this, okay? Now, what I want you to see is we know that the theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So here are the two legs, 3, 4, and 5. So 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. Now, if we take, just so you can see, 3 squared is 9 squares. So we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So we know that 3 squared. So I'm going to take the middle 9 squares and color them in. So that's 3 squared. Then we have 4 squared, which is 16. Let me lift this up a little bit more. You're going to see 4 times 4 is 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay? So 4 squared is 16. Now these are the legs. So 3 squared plus 4 squared gives us 5 squared. So if we have the 9, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So by coloring it, I wanted you to see that 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. And if we color in the right amount of squares, it equals 5 squared, which is 25. So that's how we can prove or figure out what the missing side is. Okay? So here, the right isosceles triangle has legs 6 meters long each. Find the length of the hypotenuse to the nearest tenth of a meter. So if the legs are both 6 meters long each, okay, that's our information. So 6 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared, right? So 36 plus 36 equals c squared. So 36 and 36 is 72 equals c squared. So then what we have to do is the square root of 72 equals c, because we have to take the square root of c squared to get c, right? So the answer, if you were to use the calculator, you take the square root of 72, and the answer is approximately 8.5 meters, because we started with meters, okay? And remember, you can slow this down. You don't have to go as fast as I'm going. Now, when we look at this one, it's a little bit different. We know that x and 8 are the legs, and the 13 is the hypotenuse. So C, I'm going to put this A and B. And remember, it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we don't know what A is. So I'm going to say x squared plus 8 squared, because that's 8 feet, equals 13 squared. Okay? So here we do is 8 squared plus 64 equals 169, because 8 times 8 is 64, and 13 times 2 is 169. So now we're going to subtract 64 from each side. So 8 squared, x squared, excuse me, equals 105. So then what we have to do is we want the square root of this to give us what x is. So square root of 105 equals x. So if you use your calculator, x equals approximately 10.2 feet. You just switch around how you use the equation. Okay? Or formula. They call it a theorem formula. Okay, so A, what does each letter represent? A and B represent legs. C represents the length of the hypotenuse. Which is the longest side. Okay? All right? So we have, I'm going to do it backwards over here. This would be A, B, C, and this is where you see the right angle between the two legs. Okay? Now pause for a minute and finish up your notes. And remember, you can always, when you do doodle notes, you can take and color in with a colored pencil or marker all these extra little fill in the letters. And it's supposed to help you learn, okay? So don't worry about that. Now we're going to try it on this side. Now, side lengths, 8 centimeter, 10 centimeters, 16 centimeters. So does 8 squared plus 10 squared equal 16 squared? Now I'm going to put a question mark in the middle because we don't know for sure. So does 64 plus 100, does it equal 256? 164 does not, that's what that means, does not equal 256. So the answer is no. Okay, so then we're going to go over to the next one. And it's 4 inches and 11 inches. And this is where the right angle is. And this is the hypotenuse. This is the hypotenuse. And this is a leg, and this is a leg. All right? So I'm going to say this is A, and this is B, and this is C. So A squared is 4 squared plus 11 squared equals C squared. So 16 plus 121, and you're going to want to use your calculator, equals C squared. 137 equals C squared. So now, we're going to take the square root of 137, because we're going to take the square root of C to make it a C, and it is approximately 11.7 inches if you do it by the calculator. Okay? All right? And remember, you can stop it, slow it down. If a triangle is a right angle, then A squared plus B squared equals C squared. If A plus B plus equals C squared, then the triangle is a right triangle. They said it twice, but they're saying it works both ways, okay? Now down here, we're going to coordinate, and we're going to do it off a graph. So we have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So this is 4, negative 3. I just want to pull it up a little bit so you can see it. And then the other one is -2. -2 up 1. Okay, so this is -2, 1. Now we're going to draw a line. And let me just go get my ruler. Okay, so we are going to draw a line. See where this, I want to make like an invisible dot because this is where they intersect. So I'm going to draw a line that goes down, and then I'm going to draw another line so you can see it. And I'm going to draw another line this way. Okay, and then we're going to draw a line here. All right. So if we count the squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we count the squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we use the formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and we know this is c, this is a, and this is b. These are the legs, this is the hypotenuse, okay? So a squared is 4 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. So 4 squared, use your calculator, 4 times 4 is 16, 6 times 6 is 36, equals c squared. So 16 and 36 is 52, and that equals c squared. Remember, we're going to take the square root of 52. If we take the square root of this, it'll be c. So the square root of 52 is approximately 7.2 units. Okay? Now, remember, pause it if you need to. I'm going to reinforce c is the hypotenuse, b is a leg, a is a leg. Okay? So you can either just take the notes and leave them as it is, or they say if you color code everything, it will help you remember it more. Thanks for listening.